So here we are, part 3 of 4, the Caring for Our Earth's Caregivers series. And if you were not able to make it to the first 2, I'll put a link to the chat there. But I'm going to move through my slides here. All right, so Take Me Outside started introducing. We advocate for more outdoor learning generally through the school system. And we do that by working with teachers, working with administrators and staff. And a lot of that can be policy related, but a lot of that is also encouraging folks to develop their own relationship with the natural world, and through that be able to share that with the learners around them, and developing their relationship with the natural world, with the land, in the ways we care for it. And I'm the project coordinator for Take Me Outside, so I do a lot of many different things, but this is a really fun part of my job. I'm really appreciative to be joining you from Coast Salish territory in what's currently known as British Columbia. I live where the Kawatsan people, the Cowichan tribes, and the Hulkaminam speaking peoples have stewarded the land since time immemorial. And I've been learning a little bit more about place names where I live recently. So where I live, there is a beautiful big mountain. The colonial name given was Mount Prevost, but I'm learning that the Hulkaminam name is called Sukwes, and it's named for the dog that was owned by Stutsen, who's one of the original people who fell from the sky within the Cowichan ways of knowing. So I'm honored to be learning more about this place, calling in from the place that kind of nurtures me as I live and work and play here. So Haichka, thank you for joining today. And I'm also representing Green Teacher today because the co-host from Green Teacher, Ian Shanahan, is sick at the moment. So I'm representing Green Teacher, and who you're probably familiar with if you signed up for the webinar here. And so Green Teacher, their mission is to enhance environmental literacy among young learners through a number of different ways. And some of the ways they do that is they have a digital magazine, a wonderful resource portal, books, webinars, podcasts, Pro-D, a plethora of resources to ensure that each successive generation of learners is more environmentally literate than the last. So it's lovely to be working with them. And I will post those links to each website in the chat if you'd like to learn more. And if you're joining in now and haven't had a chance to say hello in the chat and introduce yourself, where you're calling in from, I do encourage you to do so. Perhaps if you've been through the whole series or you're new, it's always nice to have interactions in the chat. So if you have the knowledge to share what Indigenous territories you're joining in from today, please feel free. There is a good resource called native-land.ca, which covers the globe and is a fantastic resource. I'll spam the chat with some links here, as I haven't had a chance yet. There's Take Me Outside if you want to learn more, Green Teacher if you want to learn more. And for learning more about the land in which you're on, then native-land.ca is a fantastic resource. Land acknowledgements are just a start, perhaps a starting point for relationship building with your local Indigenous, First Nations, and Native groups, but it is a place to start. So there's the links there. Hello to folks entering it into the chat. Lovely to see you all. And now I'm going to introduce Carrie. So it's lovely to have Carrie here. So Carrie Crofton is founder and director of the Canadian charity Global Alliance for Brain and Heart Health, Global Health Alliance, which is focused on well-being in this digital age we're all living through. Her 45 years of professional work includes developing and delivering wellness programs for teachers, parents, nurses, physicians, cardiac patients, air traffic controllers, commercial and fighter pilots, and others in high-stress occupations. She is the author of the Wellness Guide for the Digital Age, as well as Less Screen, More Green, the Mindful Tech Plan, on the powers of nature, mindfulness, and being truly connected. Carrie is a nature-loving mother and grandmother and once worked as a teacher. These days, she offers Pro-D, Less Screen, More Green programs for other teachers, as well as the Mindful Tech Plan, the Family Tech Plan, the School Tech Plan. And Carrie was also recently featured on Green Teachers podcast, which is called Talking with Green Teachers. So I'll put a link to that episode in the chat because I think it was a fantastic episode. So bring it with you on your next outdoor excursion or dog walk or whenever you're washing dishes, anything like that. And that's really the gist of what we're talking about today, is that digital well-being and caring for ourselves in this digital age. So this is the third part of a 4-part series. And if you need any of the recordings to access, to rewatch, there's yet another link in the chat. And as we get started, I'm just a reminder to keep yourself on mute, but please feel free to leave your video on. And type any questions, comments, reactions in the chat as we go, and we'll get to questions as time allows. All right, over to you, Carrie.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. What an extensive introduction. My goodness, I feel old. But I guess I am. It's lovely to see you, and thank you, Steph and Colin and Take Me Outside, and Ian and Green Teacher, and Sophia, and all your wonderful teams. It's really great. We've never met in person, but I feel that we've got this extended community of people that really care deeply for the earth. And it's really been inspiring to me. I've been really looking forward to this evening. Been looking forward to see Elder Anne. And so hope you've had a chance to take a look at what we've done so far. And I've got some more slides. I know you can't wait. And so I'd also like to hear from people in the chat. It's hard for me to kind of read the chat and talk at the same time. But your comments and questions are really welcome. And we have got a little space during the presentation to take a few questions and to look at your comments. So please welcome everyone. It's just great that you're here. So as you know, we all spend a good part of our day taking care of others. And in your work, in your home, we have kids, friends, dogs, neighbors to take care of, whatever you're doing. But this time is really for you. This is to really focus your energy on replenishing your well-being. So I am delighted to invite Elder Anne Labeois again. Anne is elder in residence at Dalhousie University and a respected elder, knowledge keeper of the Mi'kmaq of Nova Scotia. I should have started with the land acknowledgement for where I am, but sorry to say I don't know, other than I'm in Mexico, and I'm sure this was not Spanish land. So whether it was the Mayans or the Aztecs, but it's really wonderful to be here. So Elder Anne, we've asked if you would once again lead us on a guided meditation. Everyone, so many people wrote of how inspiring that was. And so what I'm hoping is, maybe there's a meditation that there's no substitute for you, of course, but that we might begin to internalize this when we're sitting at our desk or we're, kind of contained to do that breathing that you've taught. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Carrie. Lillian. Oh, it's so nice to see everybody, even though right now I just see some names, but to know that your heart is speaking to you, and we learn to listen. We learn to listen to our heart, and to know the things that we need to do, and to be connected to Mother Earth is something that is, well, we are Mother Earth. We are made out of everything that is on Mother Earth. She is in us and we are in her. And it's important that we remember that in this busy world. We live in a world of materialistic things, and we forget that everything that we see comes from the earth. So it's so important that we help her to replenish also by connecting with her and becoming one with her. And that energy, it's all about love. You know, we love ourselves, we love her, we love the universe, and that positive energy is healing. It's healing all around. So usually I do like a guided meditation, but as Carrie had asked me if we could do something a little simpler. And so it's just going to be a very brief, taking a moment, which is something we don't do too often. And it's just to be with yourself. And when you're with yourself, you honor Creator, you honor the one who gave you your breath, and you honor your physical being, your mind, body, and spirit. So I'd just like to ask everyone if you could just take a moment and close your eyes. If you're not comfortable with your eyes closed, you can just close them slightly if you need to keep them open a little bit, and just kind of look down. And just feel your feet on the floor, that sensation. Feel your buttocks on the chair, wherever you are. And try to sit like as if you're a majestic tree. You've got so much beauty, so much, you're so strong and just whole. And you're just there, sitting there, just whole. And now you're going to meet your breath, that sacred breath that was given to you when you came into this world. So I'm going to ask you to take a breath through your nostrils. Breath in and breathe out through your nostrils. Take this breath in and this breath out. Take this breath in and this breath out. One more time. This breath in and this breath out. And just sit for a moment and find your own natural rhythm of breathing. And as you're sitting here, with every breath that you let go, at the same time, allow your shoulders to melt. So this breath in and the breath out, and allow your shoulders to fall. Feel your muscles fall. The breath in and the breath out, and relax. Breath in and breath out, and relax. You could probably relax quite a few times because we hold our shoulders so high, so tight, because we carry everything in our neck and our shoulders. And if you notice thoughts coming in, maybe you're thinking about the meeting, maybe you're thinking about later on or tomorrow. When those thoughts come by, just put them on a cloud and just say, I don't need you right now. I know what you are, but I don't need you, and just push them off. And then you direct yourself back with loving kindness. Come back to this breath. In this moment, this breath in and this breath out, and relax. This breath in, and this breath out. Relax your shoulders. When we blink our eyes, our brain takes a break for a second. When we can close our eyes for a few moments and breathe in and out and be in the present moment, the healing begins. Because we are connected with all of creation. Everything that there is, it breathes with us. Nowhere to go, nothing to think about, nothing to achieve in this moment. Just be. So you can begin to move your fingers and your toes if you'd like. We're going to bring ourselves back into the moment wherever you are, whether you're on the beach or in the water or in the sunshine or in Halifax or wherever you are, in your room. And just slowly open your eyes. And still feel the essence of being in that moment, how it carries through. Your eyes actually feel refreshed. So now we can carry on. Willalam. It's going to be a great meeting.
Thank you,
And,
Elder Ann. Well, thank you. You're always so generous and kind and bring such healing energy with you. You know, and we did those forest bathing programs with the Indigenous and non-Indigenous youth and environmental educators who are working so hard in so many different ways to take care of the earth. And you take care of all of us like Mother Earth. So we're very grateful. Thank you. Thank you. So Stephanie told us we have 188 people registered, but I guess a lot of them are going to view online, so that's all right. But a real blessing for all of us to take this time. I am full of admiration and respect for all of you and the good work that you do. I know some of you are environmental advocates and activists, green teachers, school teachers, outdoor educators, and also people that are working in the EMF world to teach people about safer technology. So I, again, invite you to really use this time to focus on your own well-being. So I'm going to now share the screen and it's always an adventure. One never knows if it will work, but it looks like it's coming up. And so here we are, January 18th, amazing. And so today we're going to go through some of the things that we had talked about before, but also some new material. But I wanted to let people know that Elder Ann has very graciously agreed to be on our Global Alliance board, and she's our Indigenous advisor. And thank you for that. So as we've talked about, we're all concerned about sustainability of the earth and renewable energy, but right now we're really focusing on our own well-being. As I don't know if you have any hints that, oh, maybe this is self-indulgent. It isn't, it's essential. We have to take care of ourselves. As Dr. Jane Goodall has said, the world needs us now. And we really need to find a wellness plan that works for us and feel good about every little positive changes. Have appreciated a lot of feedback that people have said about some of the suggestions we've made. And so I'm interested if you wanted to share anything in the chat since our last meeting, what changes you might have made and what challenges you might have had. I wanted to just bring up something that people have asked me about. And as you know, one of our big recommendations is turn off your Wi-Fi at night or replace your Wi-Fi with wired. So people have said, well, they can't really turn off their Wi-Fi because they have housemates or they're renting or whatever. So we really understand that you can only do the best you can. But we've got some suggestions through here. And remember, this is a plan that has been very effective for a lot of people, but you really need to find what works for you and how you can bring it into your wellness plan. So here's a picture of a family out in the woods, in the nature. And so the message here really is you need a buddy for this less green, more green. This is a challenging path. And so whether you can find someone in your family or also a good friend to really be your less green, more green buddy, that you can make appointments, not just text each other endlessly, but say, let's go for a hike, let's go for a swim, let's go for a cycle, let's go and sit on a log and just be together. As you know, and we don't need to kind of go through the whole pandemic challenges, but sense of isolation and depression, you don't need me to tell you the world is in a really troubled state. So really calls upon us to dig deeper into our own resources, but also into making these buddy connections. I was thinking, I've long since given up making New Year's resolutions. But I was thinking, you know, essentially, what is it? I wanted to really offer to you, you know, the pith of this, because heaven knows there's lots of information. And I think essentially for me, what I work with is focusing on doing less of what drains my life force and doing more of what restores and recharges. I know that sounds simple-minded, but it's actually true. And one of the things that's challenging is, and you may have noticed this in your own life, when we really need those things that really restore and recharge us, often that's not where we go. So we go, sometimes some people into social media, into their screens, heaven knows they doom scroll, listen to the evening news. If you find any of that comforting and restoring, let me know. But part of the challenges with what restores and recharges us is it's about taking quiet time within ourselves. So even try this in the morning when you're waking up, stretching. They tell us it's really good to stretch our fingers, the synovial fluid going in our knees and our ankles. And I've learned a lot from Elder Ann and a lot of the other elders. Gratitude is such a healing state of mind. So start your day with just one or two things that you're really grateful for. As you know, one of our suggestions is reframe your narrative. Your nervous system is listening. So years ago, I taught stress and wellness in the workplace. And this is really, I think, one of the key things. And those of us working in environmental education, those of us that are trying to save this planet and the pollinators and bees and all beings, it's just overwhelming. But we can't keep telling ourselves this grim, gruesome story, because we end up with eco grief and climate despair. And the world really needs those of us who are awake. Scheduling, make sure you put some quiet time and some nature time into your day. And as we said, a buddy, nurturing friends and loved ones. So I don't know if you've got a pencil and paper nearby, but maybe take a few notes. Yes, use your tablet if that's what you're using. If you can work 20 minutes of green time into your day. But remember, in this program, we do green time a little differently than others. When we do our guided forest walks, Elder Ann, and also we've been working with a certified forest bathing guide, Will Brunner. And the guide has a cell phone powered off in his or her backpack if needed for emergencies, but everybody else, we do screen free. So I know you like to listen to your music or your podcast or whatever. You want to take pictures. Maybe you're really hooked on iNaturalist, but I really encourage you sometimes put the screens away and really, as Elder Ann has been guiding us here, let the healing nature soak into us as it more and more we have to rely on this. And as she said, we're Mother Earth. One of the elders said to me, we are part of nature. We just need to come home. So this is really a crucial part of this program, particularly today we're going to go into more of the challenges with electromagnetic radiation, things we may not want to know, but need to know about how to use our wired and wireless technology more safely. So it's really crucial that we have this healing time, this grounding time in nature. So how do we do quiet time? Well, again, remember one of the things we talked about before was know your early warning stress cue. By the time you've got a headache or you've got intense pain in the back of your neck, your eyes are sore, you're getting chest pains, though stress has been really building, the cortisol levels are up. So please try to tune in earlier and do your good belly breathing. And also remember our 20-20-20. Okay, so let's do that now, just for a moment. So look off screen, if you have your screen on, across the room, out the window, wherever, at least 20 feet. Eyes long, focus, and just do a little belly breathing. Remember, shoulders down, breathing. And back again to our screens. And how we do mindfulness practice, 5 minutes a day can really make a difference. But if you have 15 or 20 or 30, or it's really such a treasure in our wellness program. And I said before, when you really feel a lot of resistance to just sitting quietly with yourself, is probably the time when you need it most. So our guidelines: unplug, sit quietly with your back straight, shoulders relaxed, eyes slightly open with your gaze relaxed, and pay attention to the movement of your breath. And remember, as Elder Ann has been guiding us, remember she studied with John Kabat-Zinn in mindfulness-based stress reduction. So let your thoughts and emotions come and go, and you're not trying to stop your thoughts. So when you hear yourself in a really negative spin, you don't necessarily have to hit your meditation cushion, but if you train yourself to not let those thoughts take you away, but to keep coming back to the breath, it's a wonderful way to deal with stress, anxiety. And sleep. Sleep is really crucial. You don't need me to tell you that. But here are some things that people have tried which are very helpful. When you learn how the brain works, it makes sense. You can't keep this brain buzzed and then expect that it's just going to turn itself off unless you heavily medicate yourself. So see if you can kind of wind down a little bit in the evening. If you do yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, or drawing, journaling, calming music, much better than watching a violent television show. Less caffeine. Some of us are very susceptible to caffeine, so better not to have any after lunchtime, and also less alcohol. Remember, we said last time, alcohol sedates the nervous system, but then there's a longer effect of agitation. So when the sedation wears off, you have the agitation. So that's why, you know, it was all great having a glass of wine or two at dinner, but maybe at midnight you can't get to sleep. The temperature of the room is important, the amount of noise. Taking natural calcium and magnesium are very helpful. Also natural low dose melatonin, and less light, no blue screens, and a screen-free sleep sanctuary. The function of sleep is to heal and repair the immune system, and every cell in your body, your brain, everything needs to reboot. So the more stress we have in our lives, the more we really need to put some effort in to getting better sleep. And I'm happy to say that when people do our programs, virtually everyone reports afterwards that they're sleeping better. So the 20-20-20, belly breathing. So I'm going to ask here, Steph, can you take a look and see if there's any questions or comments in the chat that we should deal with now?
Yeah, the people were particularly actually commenting on the 20-20-20, saying that was an important takeaway for them, and they've been sharing it and trying it and really appreciating that one. So good timing. Great.
And any questions so far?
No questions so far, just appreciation and comments. Okay, there was one just came through from Cecilia. Carrie, do you recommend the CalMag, I think that's calcium magnesium, at night?
Yes. Yes.
And actually, sorry, what was that, Carrie?
Well, the calcium and magnesium, they're muscle relaxers. They relax for the nerves. Absolutely. They need to be good bioavailability, well absorbed. Lots of calciums are not particularly well absorbed. So it's better to invest in a good brand and that has good bioavailability. And also you'll see when we get further into the chat into the discussion of safer tech, magnesium is really recommended as a antidote, but certainly a support when we're in strong electromagnetic fields.
And Carrie, a question just from me. For the melatonin, is there an issue? I haven't taken it before. Is there an issue with gaining a tolerance over time? And maybe that applies to any supplement.
For me, it's really important that it's a natural sourced, and I would consult a naturopath, a holistic integrative physician. I'm just speaking from personal experience here, most of the dosage are too high. And so better to get a liquid that you can titrate. So maybe the liquid is for one dropper, it's 1 milligram or 3 or 5. But I'm such a sensitive little being. I can do a few drops and it helps. So, But I don't think there's a concern with long-term use, but you'd need to talk to a health professional if there is any contraindications with anything else with your taking.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know with valerian, for example, is a very popular herbal one, but for me and others, valerian has the opposite effect. So, but melatonin is also very good for jet lag. It helps to, or for people with shift work. So low dose, titrate, in other words, just do small amounts, and you take it about half an hour before bed. But even better is be in as low Wi-Fi zone as possible. Okay, so we're going to have another break for questions. And so this is, I've mentioned before. Oh, Dr. Swingle's name came off there, I see. So it's Dr. Mari Swingle, and so this is her book, iMinds. It's quite a treatise. If you have any interest in a lot of the research, it's really extraordinary. But so tech dependency or addiction, what she says, the devices are problematic when you can't do without one. Well, that's kind of challenging because for most of us, I mean, look, here we are all on screen. But she's talking about that kind of obsessiveness. And with the youth that we've been working with in these nature guide training programs, it's so interesting to hear them express their journey with less screen, more green, because now they say they can go for walks without their phones. And this is real, progress for a lot of them. Devices are problematic when you can't stop. You get really hooked in. And that's a challenge because, as you know, these apps were all designed to get us hooked. The dopamine in the brain gets really charged, and in the same way as other drugs. You choose tech over all other activities, so that's a problem. And there's some dismissed or ignored consequences. So I'd like to offer to you some information we've talked about in our less screen, more green. So not only are we talking about a balance of more healing green time, but it's the nature of our screen time. It's the choices that we make. And so this is Dr. Deborah Davis, and she is an epidemiologist. And she wrote a book called Disconnect: The Truth About Cell Phone Radiation. And she was part of a team with Al Gore and won Nobel Peace Prize. She is the director of the Environmental Health Trust. And I really encourage you, any of you who want to see more of the research and evidence of why I'm always talking about the benefits of safer tech. So her site is ehtrust.org, and there is a lot of really convincing science. I'm trying to read what is written here as I'm talking. So she says she runs a nonprofit working to identify and avoid environmental health hazards. Dr. Davis and also Dr. Martin Blank have been working in this field for many years. Dr. Blank was on our board. Sadly, he passed away a few years ago. Just an extraordinary, dedicated scientist. And he wrote a book called Overpowered, which is really very compelling. So as we go through this, I can almost sort of hear some of you saying, well, wait a minute, how could this be true? And why haven't we heard of it? So let me just tell you what I learned, and you can decide for yourself. So Dr. Blank said Canada's Safety Code 6 and other safety standards, which are national, international, are inaccurate and based solely on thermal levels. And there is clear evidence of harm at non-thermal levels. These standards must be brought into line with the science. He also says you can't see these frequencies and most people can't feel them. that they have been proven to be harmful at government sanctioned levels. So let's look at this for a moment. So here's kids sitting at a computer, and as Dr. Blank says, most people can't see or feel the frequencies, but they're there. So when you talk to a lot of people, they will, including physicians and dentists, when I say to the dentist, I don't really want those x-rays unless you really have to do them. So they'll say, oh, you know, the radiation from the x-rays is just the same as if you were to fly in an airplane. And I said, well, actually, that's not really true. The Earth is an electromagnetic field. Yes, there's radiation from the sun. It's cosmic radiation. It's very different than these digital waves. Also, lots of us, and I certainly believed, government regulations are accurate and protecting us. Surely there must have been some pre-market testing and monitoring for cell phones and all of these devices. And you hear this a lot, the jury's still out. And if all this stuff were harmful, we'd see increases in cancers, etc. And another one is cell phones, tablets, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, everywhere must be safe. Wi-Fi is a safe and secure internet connection. One way I'm able to get into wired only conversations is around the lack of security of the data with Wi-Fi, but really there are health concerns. So I'm not asking you to believe this particularly, but I want you to see some of the reasoning when I encourage you to get back your landline. Don't hold your cell phone against your head. Try your best to get your Wi-Fi turned off at night. There's real science and reasons for this. So this is one of Dr. Blank's. Now, maybe we're going too far into the science realm for some of you, but just have a look here and stay with me for a moment. So this is talking about the spectrum. And this, at this end here, is called ionizing radiation, right? X-rays, gamma rays. And this is thermal. So the radiation from these can heat human tissue, and they're known to have harmful effects. That's why you have x-rays when you really need them, but don't have x-rays just to the physician or dentist to cover themselves. So people have acknowledged that there are harmful effects from thermal levels, but Dr. Blank and thousands of other scientists published peer-reviewed studies for 30 to 40 years showing non-thermal hidden harmful effects. So that the radiation from your cell phone, from your tablet, from your Wi-Fi, from the local cell tower antenna is not warm enough, usually, although one wonders if they're kind of getting there, to heat human tissue, but there's clear evidence of non-thermal effects. So that is why we do screen time the way we do in our Less Screen, More Green. It isn't just about balance, it's about safer screen time. And I'm trying to anticipate what you might be thinking or feeling now. I know I didn't really appreciate getting this message, what I call the wireless wake-up call. But honestly, I'm so grateful that I learned about this, because I'm able to make choices for myself and my family. We sleep well, we're in good health. We don't have any of the signs and symptoms that many people have. And there's a real epidemic of something called electrosensitivity. And these people truly suffer. And in March, on our next, we're going to do an interview with a specialist, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. So take a breath. How's our shoulders? So how we do screen time with our mindful tech plan, our ergonomics, you know about that now. And all of you got the handout, so I'm not going to go through that again. Taking frequent breaks, you know about our 20-20-20. Also, that means standing up now and then. Sitting is the most harmful thing for your health. So stand, stretch, do your desk Qigong. You'll see in the handout, there's Qigong exercises. So I'm hoping, I don't know if we'll get it in March, but we might continue the series and show you how to do that. But really crucial that safer screen time is also about how you deal with repetition strain injuries and all of those, eye strain. In the handout, you have the 7 best practices. There's our friend, the landline, and also the real, if you've learned nothing from all the time you've invested here, is please don't ever hold your cell phone right against your head. Maybe next time I'll show you some of the thermal images, because when you do this, the radiation goes through the ear canal to the brain. So that's why I recommend headsets. This is a wired headset. This in the ear is the worst, the most harmful. There's something also called an air tube headset, which is cuts down on the conveyance of the radiation. So there's some really fairly easy things to do. This is a timer, and so you can plug your router into the timer, and you can figure out which is nighttime, which is daytime. And so if you could also have a power bar, so you put the router in there and you switch it on and off. For your health, of course, it's better that you didn't have the Wi-Fi at all, that you had a wired connection, the Ethernet cable. And if you are able to do that, we really encourage you to know you need to go into the device and disable the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth there as well, because there's this two-way communication. Smart house. I don't know if you've gone shopping for appliances recently, but honestly, everything has Wi-Fi. You can run your whole world from your cell phone. But then you may be getting dizzy spells, skin rashes, headaches, arrhythmia, and all these conditions which can be connected with this. And so it's really maybe not a smart choice. So again, I'm offering these to you with the best intention. I'm not trying to overwhelm you. And when we do these Care for the Caregivers programs, I do this being mindful that I don't want to add to your burdens, but I do know that there are a lot of people who suffer from a lot of symptoms that are largely benefit, and the symptoms reduced when they don't sleep with their cell phones and when they are able to make some of these changes. This is a particularly concern for someone who's pregnant, because the fetus is very vulnerable. So it's really important to now this. So this is a meter, and I have one here for those of us that you can see. They come from, now I don't know if it's Safer Living. I think that's wrong. It's Safe Living Technologies, and their website is S like safe, L living T, .co. And it's really helpful to have a meter so that you can find a low or better place to be. So let's just take a moment. Whoops, drop the meter. Steph, are there any questions?
No questions, just a few more comments happening in the chat. but please feel
Okay.
free, folks, to continue writing them, because we will get to them.
So this is Dr. Erica Mallory Blythe, and she's going to be with us by video. She's in the UK, so it's the middle of the night there now. And she is an emergency room physician who is one of the world's leading experts on this new condition called electrosensitivity. And so it's really helpful information because, as I said, there are many people who are suffering from symptoms and they don't know how to connect the dots. Many of them are being medicated. They're being treated by physicians who don't know yet about this. And so it's really helpful to have this kind of information. So we've got the handouts there. And so please go through that. You've got my email, which I'll give you again in the moment. So please keep in touch. And so next March, we're going to come together again. And so I really invite you to take this information in and just see how it works for you and works for your life. And also see what you can do each day to really keep connected with the earth, keep connected with your loved ones, keep connected with your family, and make sure. It's so easy to get hooked on too much tech, caught up in our work, overwhelmed by all the good work that we're doing. And it's just so crucial to keep taking care of ourselves. So some of the resources include our book, Less Screen, More Green. We have 2 websites there, lessScreenMoreGreen.org and our globalhealthalliance.ca. Can I ask you, Steph, could you put those in the chat for us?
Yeah, the links to the Global Health Alliance. And what was the other one?
The other one is lessScreenMoreGreen.org.
Oh yeah, I see it there now. Yes, will do.
And the Global Health Alliance. And then the book that I did before then is A Wellness Guide for the Digital Age with Safer Tech Solutions for All Things Wired and Wireless. And the website there is safertechsolutions.org. I wrote this book several years ago, but the information is still really helpful. And we brought together Deborah Davis and Martin Blank, and I think there was 15 or 20 of the world's leading experts in this field. And there's a lot of great information. We went sort of room to room, what you need to know about lights, what you need to know about all kinds of different technologies and the safer, better ways to use them. So this is one of our board members, Jackie Reeves, and doing an outdoor ed program there. Some of you are working with kids and doing outdoor programs, green teachers. So I'm not trying to set your policy for you, but I would encourage you really consider doing some of your nature walks screen-free. The kids are tech savvy already, and they spend a lot of time in their classrooms on screens. It's probably a lot at home. So while they're with you, they're in the woods, they're on a nature trail, they're in a city park, please encourage them to just really tune in, feel the earth beneath their feet, connect with their sense perceptions. These are the future stewards of the earth. If you think well, I'm a generation above a lot of you, but in our generations, if we're feeling climate grief and eco-anxiety, we're feeling overwhelmed, angst for the world, what is the future for them? So it's so important, and it's wonderful the work that you're doing. I applaud you all. and take care of yourselves. This is a picture of my moccasins. And so again, I invite you, when you go out in your healing time in nature, really try barefoot or leather-soled moccasins. Because yes, your hiking boots and your thick-soled Nikes or whatever you have are great, but that rubber is keeping you from really connecting with the earth. So please don't be overwhelmed by our EMF, wired, wireless, and all that stuff story. You're strong, our systems are strong, nature is strong. So just get out into the earth, and you know, you can, I once had a kind of a EMF overdose. And so a physician friend of mine said, let's go outside. So we went outside and he said, take off your shoes. And now this was an actual MD. And he said, okay, now put your 10 fingers onto the earth and breathe. And you are rebooting, reconnecting all the circuits in your system. He's also a highly regarded acupuncturist. And so acupuncturists know about energy and connection. So if you have the possibility of, remember we talked about your good healing team, a naturopath, integrative physician, and really take the time. But when you're out there, see if you can just put your phone down. Yes, iNaturalist is, I've never even seen iNaturalist, but I'm sure it's great. Put it away and just sit quietly and ground. So we'll see you again on March 1st. Thank you, everyone. I so deeply appreciate all the work that you're doing, and also for the anonymous sponsor who has funded this program for us. We are deeply grateful to her and to all the good work that they do. So please keep in touch. There's my email, carrie108@telus.net. I'd love to hear from you and how you're doing. So be well.
Thank you, Carrie. I just wrote your email in the chat there if people want to copy and paste it. And I'll write mine in the chat as well in case anyone has any questions or anything like that, or technical difficulties. That's my end of things. And some thank yous coming in the chat and lots of resources being shared too, which is just lovely. Thank you, Cecilia. There's so many wonderful ideas happening and being shared, and some really important information too. Carrie, thank you for balancing some content that can be kind of scary or, you know, unsettling, and not making it too daunting or leaving with that feeling. At least I'm not leaving with the feeling of fear, but more empowerment, I think.
So I'm just looking at here, Steph, that yeah, so somebody's talked about EHS. I just want to explain. So that's electro hypersensitivity. So which next time Dr. Erica Mallory Blythe will talk about this. So it's either called ES, electrosensitivity, or EHS, electro hypersensitivity. And Cecilia Doucette says, until July 15th, doctors, nurses, firefighters, and others can register to be professionally trained to recognize, diagnose, treat, and prevent electromagnetic illness. Is EMF conference 2021.com. So this is I don't know if that's a tape from the conference in 2021, but maybe there's a new one coming up. And so this is really crucial. I think one of the challenges for me, if I can add, is honestly, I couldn't believe this when I heard this. I've been a public health educator for 40 years by then, I think. And I had never heard of this. I had worked in hospitals and cardiac clinics. I'd worked with physicians and surgeons and psychiatrists. I had done biofeedback, and I had never heard that cell phone radiation and Wi-Fi were harmful. So I thought, well, what the heck? How could this be true? And I asked Dr. Blank, what a lovely, lovely man he was. He did so much good, and he was so unheralded. I said, you know, if even part of this science is true, what does this mean? And he says, tell the people you care about. There's a lot of safer ways to use this technology. People just need to know. So thank you, everyone, for listening. And please remember what Elder Ann has encouraged us. And could I ask if you would maybe just close to bring us back to our powerful sacredness and to do a brief meditation. I think we got about maybe 5 minutes left.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
My shoulders are up here, so that's why I need your
You know, that is amazing. Even when we're talking like on the phone or something, you don't realize your shoulders actually are up like this most of the time, or in the office, or when we're thinking about something, they just seem to, oh yeah, they get right up there. And how relaxing it is to allow our whole physical being, because our thoughts affect our whole body. We know that very well. Our thoughts, they can create diseases. So along with all this magnetic electro, I think it even makes things even worse. It accelerates it somehow. The first time I really understood about that, somebody gave me, it was probably about 25, 30 years ago. They gave me a book called The 10th Insight. I don't know if anybody ever heard of that, but there was actually 10 books, Insight 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was all about this, about the energies from man-made things and how it infiltrates through the earth, and then how it affected people. And when I read something like that, I said, oh my gosh, that's true. That's so true, you know, like we can feel the vibration from anything, because we are vibration ourselves. We're very much of the earth. We are more than part of the earth. We are the earth. We're the walking, living part of the earth, because we have to, it's there for us and we feed from it. And it's so important what we feed ourselves, and our cell phones and our TVs and everything is another form of feeding ourselves. So we have to be very careful, as Carrie says, you know, how we take that in. So I'm very honored. It's so nice to have everybody here and to know that, you know, there's caring people, and we're going to go forth with this, because the children of the next generation need it so much. So much. We have to honor them that much, and honor Mother Earth also, and all of creation. So we're just going to check in. I like to call it checking back in, and to close your eyes and again just check in with your breath. And all that you've heard and everything, just let it be. And just check into this moment, because in this moment, you are well. In this moment, You are joy. You know peace. You are well. You have understanding. You know forgiveness. You have compassion. And you are love in this moment. This breath in and this breath out. This breath in and this breath out, and relax your shoulders. This breath in and this breath out. Relax and just sit and be with the one who gives you your breath and gives breath to all of life. And allow yourself to be well. And now that we can carry on, so you can begin to move your fingers. It's always nice to waken up our energy again when we relax, because we don't relax often. And sometimes when we relax, we could almost fall asleep. And that's because we're so exhausted, mentally, physically, emotionally. And then just gently open your eyes. And then stretch up. Stretch up and feel the wonderful energy of our physical being. It does exactly what we want it to do. It never resists to carry us through life. And we just have to learn to listen. Have a wonderful evening. Hope everyone sleeps well. Allow you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What a wonderful way to end our webinar tonight. And the next one, the last of the series, is on Wednesday, March 1st, same time from wherever you joined in today. And well, of course, thank you so much to Carrie and Anne. What a joy, what a privilege to have you both here with us. So much gratitude towards you both, sharing your knowledge and your time. And on behalf of Take Me Outside, I'm giving away a gift card, which feels like a totally different vibe to send out there, but it's a showing of our gratitude for everyone showing up today. And so I wrote everyone's name in a little wheel. It's off on my computer. You might hear the wheel spinning and then a cheer as the name gets chosen, and I'll share who is chosen here. So it'll be $25 to spend at the Take Me Outside store, as long as that person is still here. Mary Louise is the name that came up. Are you still here and able to claim your prize? I see your name up. So if so, maybe just say hello in the chat, and then again, I'll put my email in the chat. You can email me and say, I was the winner, congratulations. And that's the last thing from me. And if she doesn't respond, then I will randomly choose someone else, and I'll get your email there. That concludes part 3 of 4 for us.